Peace and power, family. You're tuned in to Rootwork Revival Radio, where we conjure memory, root ourselves in truth, and honor the sacred traditions of our people, past, present, and forward. I'm your host, Trey, veteran, root worker, and cultural keeper of Pangea's Botanica, and today we begin a brand new journey, the Spiritual Wealth Series. Now let me be clear from the jump. When we say wealth, we ain't just talking dollars. We ain't just talking cars, cribs, or stacked bank accounts. Those things matter, yes, but they're fruit on the tree. Wealth, real wealth, begins with the roots, and the roots are always spiritual. So what do I mean by spiritual wealth? Spiritual wealth is alignment. It's when your inner life, your ancestors' prayers, your values, and your actions move in rhythm. It's the strength that makes money stay in your hands instead of slipping away. It's the wisdom that teaches you when to plant and when to reap. It's the power that keeps you from being owned by what you own. Our people understood this long before banks and credit scores. On the plantation, wealth was not counted in coins because we weren't allowed coins. Wealth was counted in songs, in stories, in roots, hidden in a pouch, in prayers whispered under a full moon. That was wealth. Because wealth is not just what you have, it's what you can call on. Think about it. A root worker with a few dried herbs and a Bible full of Psalms could shift the energy of a whole household. That's spiritual wealth. A mother teaching her children how to pray over food so it stretched just a little further. That's spiritual wealth. A man walking through the woods carrying a mojo bag for protection because the law wasn't protecting him. That's spiritual wealth. Spiritual wealth has always been about survival, strategy, and spirit. It's about knowing that while the world might take your labor, it can't take your connection to God, your ancestors, and your inner power. One of the teachings I hold close, reframing what I learned from wealth teachers like Myron Golden and anchoring it in our tradition, is this. Wealth is a cycle, not a moment. In African cosmologies, Yoruba, Congo, Akan, we see the world in circles: birth, life, death, return, planting, harvest, resting, planting again. In the Black South, that cycle lived in farming, in homecoming, in hoodoo practices. So when we talk about wealth, it's not about getting a bag once. It's about building a cycle, something that replenishes itself. That's why spiritual wealth matters first, because without roots, the tree can't bear fruit more than once. Now let's get real. Poverty itself is a spell. It's a set of beliefs, patterns, and agreements handed down, sometimes by oppressors, sometimes by trauma, that tells us we ain't supposed to have more. But hoodoo teaches us that no curse is unbreakable. Every hex has a counter charm. Every chain has a key. The work of building spiritual wealth is breaking those old spells: scarcity thinking, fear of abundance, guilt over success, and replacing them with ancestral truths. Truths I would like, you were born with ash. Truths like, the labor of your people deserves return. Truths like, your wealth is not just for you, but for the next generation. So let's bring this down to practice. This week, I want you to make a wealth altar, nothing fancy. A small corner of a table will do. Place a white candle for clarity. Place a glass of water for your ancestors. Place a coin, a dollar bill, or anything that represents money to you. And place one natural item, a root, a stone, a seed. Light the candle, pour the water, and say aloud, I break the chains of scarcity. I claim the wealth of my spirit. Ancestors, guide me into cycles of abundance that honor you. Sit with that a few minutes. Listen, that's how you begin shifting the energy. Family, this series is not just about making more money. It's about becoming the kind of people who can hold wealth without losing ourselves. Because let's be honest, how many times have we seen money come fast and go faster? Lottery winners, athletes, folks who hit a lick but couldn't keep it. That's what happens when fruit grows without roots. Spiritual wealth is the root system. It's what keeps abundance flowing steady, not in bursts. It's what keeps us generous, not greedy, responsible, not reckless. And when Black folks reclaim spiritual wealth, we're not just changing individual lives, we're healing generations. So, family, As we start this spiritual wealth series, remember, you are already rich if you know your prayers, your people, and your power. Everything else flows from that. Money without spirit is just paper. But spirit with money, that's legacy, that's freedom, that's justice, paid forward. Thank y'all for walking with me today on Rootwork Revival Radio. If this episode moved you, share it, light a candle, speak your affirmations, and remember, wealth begins in the unseen before it ever shows up in the seen. Until next time, I'm Trey. Stay rooted, stay ready, and stay sacred. Peace, family.